Let's face it, keeping tabs on who the federal government can even buy things from, it feels like a huge task sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
The sheer volume of rules, vendor requirements, it can be, well, dizzying.
It's a real challenge, yeah. Just the basic homework, checking if a vendor's eligible, compliant, if they owe money to the feds. That's a lot of admin work.
And that's exactly where we're diving in today. We're looking at this brand new tool from the GSA, the General Services Administration.
Oh, okay.
It's called CODY. And the idea is basically to bring some order to that, well, that chaos.
Right. So for everyone listening, our mission here is to really understand what CODY is, how it actually works, what's going on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and maybe why its arrival could mean some interesting things for federal buying and maybe even, government efficiency more broadly.
Definitely. We're pulling this from a recent FedScoop article that lays out CODY's launch and what it does. Okay, so let's unpack CODY. Sounds kind of friendly.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the name apparently wasn't an accident. CODY. They say it has Irish roots, means helpful one,
Huh, helpful one.
which, given what it's supposed to do, seems pretty fitting.
A helpful bot. I like it. So, okay, practically speaking, what does this helpful bot do? What's its main function?
So essentially, CODY gathers up all that prerequisite info you need for procurement, all the vital stuff,
Okay.
and it puts it into one checklist. Think of it like an automated first check, making sure the basic boxes are ticked before things go further.
Right, like an automatic gatekeeper ensuring everything's lined up. So what specific kinds of checks are we talking about? What's it looking for?
Well, the article mentions a few key things. One big one is vendor representation requirements, like does the vendor meet the criteria for how they present themselves?
Gotcha.
It also checks if the vendor owes any federal debt. That's crucial.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe most importantly, it looks for any exclusionary flags or responsibility cautions, things that should basically trigger an alert for the procurement team.
Ah, so it's looking for potential problems before they become real problems. That sounds incredibly useful.
Exactly. Catching things early.
Now, you often hear about new tech saving money, right? But the article says GSA is tracking something a bit different as the main measure of success for CODY. What's that?
Yeah, this is interesting, especially if you're into efficiency metrics. They're focusing mainly on the hours CODY saves each year.
Hours saved, not just dollars.
Right. Not primarily the direct cash savings. It suggests they really want to free up their people's time for, the harder stuff, the more strategic thinking.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. Less about the raw cost, more about using human brain power better. And they have a pretty solid example of it working already, don't they?
They do. The GSA administrator, Stephen Ahikian, mentioned on Twitter, that CODY actually led them to cancel a contract,
Oh, really? How much?
a $423,000 contract. So CODY flagged something and boom, contract canceled. That's a very tangible benefit right there.
Wow, nearly $500,000. That really shows how it could stop problematic deals before they happen. And something else I found interesting, CODY wasn't bought off the shelf.
That's right. The article makes a point of saying GSA built it themselves, in-house.
Which, for anyone watching government innovation, that says something about their internal tech skills, right?
Absolutely. They saw a need and developed their own fix.
And this wasn't just a quick side project either. They started work back in 2022, apparently. And now, April 2025, it's ready for government-wide use. That's like, what, 3 years of development?
Yeah, a solid 3 years, which points to a real investment, suggests they see long-term value here. Okay, so we know what it does, but what's under the hood? What's the tech driving it?
Exactly. Let's get into the tech bit. The article says CODY uses robotic process automation, RPA software. For anyone maybe not familiar with RPA, how would you explain that simply?
Think of RPA like software that acts like a human using a computer. It can click buttons, type in data, move between different programs. It automates those repetitive kind of rule-following tasks humans used to do.
Right, so a digital assistant handling the routine procurement steps. And the specific software is UiPath.
That's what the GSA official confirmed, yeah. But it's not just UiPath.
Ah.
The article mentions they also hooked it up with other, quote, side applications. Things like Python, Adobe, even some Google scripting.
So it's not just one program doing everything. It's more like a combination of tools working together.
Precisely. Like one official said, it's a bot,
Right.
but in the background, there's lots of different technologies.
Yeah.
going into it. It's a more complex setup than just one piece of software.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a whole system. So let's zoom out a bit. What does a tool like CODY mean for the bigger picture? How does it fit into the whole federal government landscape?
Well, one of the really big deals highlighted, and something listeners should probably note about federal ops, is how universal CODY is meant to be.
Universal. How so?
It doesn't need huge changes or customization for every single agency. Because those core procurement checks it does, they're pretty much the same across the board.
Ah, I see.
So CODY can deliver those time savings pretty much anywhere, regardless of what specific computer systems an agency uses internally.
That sounds like a massive advantage, especially when you compare it to other automation projects the article mentions. Some GSA efforts are described as very system-specific.
Exactly. Those would need a lot of tweaking to work elsewhere.
Yeah.
CODY is positioned as, like, a perfect example of automation that can scale across federal acquisition.
That scalability is huge for getting efficiency gains everywhere, not just in one pocket of GSA.
Right.
And it seems like CODY showing up isn't just happening in a vacuum. It connects to some internal GSA stuff going on, right? Some changes, even pressures.
That's a really key piece of context, yeah. The article notes CODY was first shown off during GSA's First Friday demo day.
A demo day.
Yeah, a new internal thing where teams could present their software projects, show what they've been building.
And these demo days started not long after some pretty big news about staffing levels, particularly in the Technology Transformation Services, TTS.
Yes, exactly. The TTS director, Thomas Shedd, had announced a huge, like 50% staff reduction.
Wow, 50%.
Yeah, and the Washington Post reported Shedd even talked about needing wins to defend. Said that folks from OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, called DOGE in the article, were looking for real results, actual achievements.
So you connect the dots. There was likely pressure to show that GSA's tech initiatives were delivering value, especially with staff cuts happening and OMB watching closely.
That seems like a very plausible reading, yes. For anyone tracking government efficiency, it suggests a strong motivation to demonstrate concrete results.
Makes sense.
And the article also brings up Shedd's earlier comment about GSA focusing on work that's legally required, statutorily required, and aligned with the previous administration's priorities.
Right, suggesting a kind of narrowing of focus, prioritizing things with clear mandates and outcomes.
Seems that way. And this climate of potential cuts in TTS seems ongoing. The article mentions another recent internal announcement about more cuts.
Oh, really? More cuts?
Yeah, including to the Office of Regulatory and Oversight Systems program.
So it really paints a picture, doesn't it? CODY isn't just launching as a cool new tool. It's happening while GSA is facing this pressure to do more, potentially with fewer people.
Exactly. It's launching into that specific environment, which, if you're watching how government evolves, makes the potential impact of tools like CODY seem even more significant.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. For everyone listening, what's the main takeaway from our deep dive on CODY?
I think the core message is that CODY really represents this clear push to use automation to make federal buying more efficient.
Right.
By automating that first crucial step of checking out vendors, it could potentially save a lot of time and effort across many different agencies.
And that ease of use, the fact that it works broadly without needing tons of agency-specific tweaking, that feels like a really big plus for getting it adopted widely.
It really is.
Yeah.
It allows for more consistent benefits across the whole federal government, unlike some automation that's very niche or needs heavy lifting to adapt.
So finishing up this deep dive, it definitely leaves you thinking, with this drive for efficiency and the reality of potential staff cuts like we see at GSA, what's the bigger role for tools like CODY? You know, automation in general.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the future of government work, and what are the ripple effects for, well, the federal workforce itself, and also for all the vendors trying to do business with the government? Definitely something to ponder.
Indeed. It raises some big questions about how technology will keep reshaping government and that ongoing balance between automation and human expertise. Lots to watch in the coming years.